What if I told you that in New Zealand, young people are ditching $7,000 monthly mortgages to live in $15,000 vans, or build off-grid homes for less than a house deposit, and they're saving more money in a year than most save in a decade? I'm about to show you why an entire generation is rejecting the housing system and choosing wheels or the wilderness over walls, and the math will blow your mind. I thought the housing crisis was just about expensive homes, but I discovered something radical. Young people are escaping the system entirely, living in vans or off-grid homes, saving tens of thousands, and building lives most of us can only dream of. But here's what nobody's talking about. This isn't just about money. They've uncovered a secret to true freedom that's making banks and landlords nervous. Stick around to see why this could be the future of how we live. Let's start with the brutal reality. In New Zealand, the average Auckland house costs $1.2 million. That's a $120,000 deposit, more than most people earn in a year. And if you somehow get that deposit, you're looking at $7,000 monthly mortgage payments, or $84,000 a year, just for housing. Rent's no better, $600 a week in Auckland, plus utilities and transport, easily hits $2,000 a month. After all that, you own nothing. You're just making your landlord rich. This isn't a housing shortage, it's a broken system designed to keep you trapped in the rent or mortgage cycle forever. But some young people have said, no way, and found a better path. Meet the van lifers, 20-somethings who've traded apartments for converted vans costing $10,000 to $25,000. They're not just surviving, they're thriving, working remotely, travelling New Zealand's stunning landscapes, and saving big. Here's the breakdown. Van life costs $200 to $400 a week, including fuel, food, and parking. That's $10,000 to $20,000 a year. Compare that to $30,000 or more a year for rent alone, plus utilities and transport. That's a potential $20,000 to $50,000 annual savings. Take Sarah, a 25-year-old teacher. She bought a $15,000 van, works online, and wakes up to a new beach every week. While her friends stress over rent hikes, she's debt-free, exploring, and investing her savings. New Zealand's perfect for this. Free camping spots, public facilities, and co-working spaces make van life practical. Plus, online communities share tips on everything from parking to solar setups. It's not roughing it, it's freedom. If van life sounds too nomadic, meet the off-grid pioneers. These are regular families and young couples building self-sufficient homes in the bush for $50,000 to $100,000, less than a house deposit. Many families have built their off-grid home for $80,000. They generate their own power, grow food, and spend $50 a month on utilities. Compare that to $24,000 or more a year for city living with zero equity. They own their home outright. No bank, no landlord. They're not isolated hermits. Most live 20 minutes from towns, with satellite internet and community schools. They work part-time, spend time with their kids, and have skills like gardening that save thousands. Both let you escape the system and own your life in ways traditional housing never will. And then there's a deeper, more rooted response happening within Māori communities, who own significant blocks of ancestral land. Faced with the housing crisis and barriers like lengthy Māori land court processes that can take years just to build on their own whenua, many whānau are turning back to their homesteads and marae. They're fixing up old family homes or creating papakaina, multi-generational villages on communal land that blend traditional Māori ways with modern needs. It's a return to a simpler life, living intergenerationally, growing kai from the earth, and strengthening ties to whakapapa, all without the debt trap. Recent government moves, like proposed standards to ease building on rural Māori land, are helping make this possible. These aren't just homes, they're acts of reclaiming heritage and building affordable, culturally safe communities that prioritise whānau over profit. It's inspiring to see how this ties into the off-grid spirit, self-reliance, but with the added power of ancestral connection. Let's talk about what traditional housing really costs. Beyond money, it's your time and freedom. At $7,000 a month for a mortgage, earning $25 an hour after tax, you're working 70 hours a week just for housing. That's 30 years of your life traded to a bank. Rent's no better. You pay $2,000 or more a month and own nothing. You're stuck in expensive cities, working jobs you might not love, just to afford a roof. Meanwhile, van lifers, off-grid families, and Māori whānau building papakainga are building homes and living on their terms. That $20,000 to $50,000 you save yearly with these paths, invest it at 5% compound interest, and in 10 years, you could have $250,000 to $600,000. It may not sound like much in today's money and will be worth even less in the future, but a small idea and planning can sometimes evolve into a life changer. Van life means limited space, costly repairs if your van breaks down, and finding legal parking. Off-grid living faces building code hurdles, and rural life can feel isolating if you're not prepared. For Māori-led projects, navigating collective land titles and finance barriers adds multiple challenges, and don't start me on the local and regional council restrictions, fines and costs. You can check out the rates and council videos on my channel. Both require learning new skills, like solar maintenance or composting toilets. Then there's social pressure. Family might not get it. Dating's tricky when your home moves, and some employers raise eyebrows at unconventional addresses. But these are manageable. Vans have solar power, mobile hotspots, and clever storage. Off-grid homes use satellite internet and community resources. Online groups share ideas and information. It's about planning, not perfection. This isn't just about vans or the bush. It's a rebellion against a system that's failed young people. COVID showed we can work remotely, so why pay Auckland rent for Auckland jobs? Why follow a path that leads to debt, not freedom? Van lifers and off-grid pioneers are part of a location-independent generation. They're choosing tiny houses, co-living, or house-sitting, prioritizing experiences, ownership, and wealth over mortgages. And Maori communities are leading with Papakaina, showing how cultural roots can fuel modern solutions. They're not running away, they're building something better. I predict this is the future, a generation that owns assets, not debt, and lives where they want, not where they're forced. Banks hate it, but it's unstoppable. Maybe you're not ready to buy a van or move to the bush, but the principles here can change your life. You don't need society's permission to live differently. Start small. Calculate your rent versus van life or off-grid costs. Research tiny homes or co-housing. Learn one skill, like gardening or solar setup. Ask yourself, what would I do with an extra $20,000 to $50,000 a year? Travel, start a business, retire early. The housing crisis isn't just a problem, it's an opportunity to rethink everything. What kind of life do you actually want? Van life and off-grid living aren't just trends, they're a wake-up call. Young people are refusing to spend their lives paying for overpriced housing while building someone else's wealth. They're choosing freedom, ownership, and adventure. So here's my challenge. This week, crunch the numbers. See what you're paying for rent or a mortgage, and imagine what you could do with that money. Because the system's broken, but you're not powerless.